Hello, I'm Brixius, creator of Neos VR, and I'm currently using the VIVE Pro headset with the VIVE Facial Tracker. Thanks to this technology, I have a full facial control available inside of Neos VR, a social VR sandbox platform. In this video, I would like to demonstrate how you can quickly import your own avatar and get it set up with facial tracking. I would also like to demonstrate how you can build upon this technology and add lots of custom scripting and custom behaviors to your avatars to react based on the expressions you are making with your face. But a lot of you will probably want to import your own custom avatar and have it work with the facial tracking. To get started, let me switch to the first-person view, and you can see my UI here. And let me just move this out of the way. So first, we need to get the avatar imported. So I'm gonna open my dash, and you see normally you start like here at the home. There are two ways to import avatars, either through the built-in file browser, and you'll find a list of different files. So for example, here I have an avatar from the Ready Player Me website, or you can use the desktop tab, and you can see over here I have the same list of files in Windows Explorer. And to import, I will simply need to find the file. So let's have a look, Ready Player Me. I will either hold to open the context menu and press copy, and then press paste content from clipboard. You might find this button in a different place. I have mine customized, so this one might be over here. But once you press this button, it will open a dialog to import the model. So this is a regular 3D model, regular avatar. I'm gonna use auto humanoid height, so it will automatically set up the scale and run import. I don't need to customize any of the settings. I will wait a little bit and the avatar gets imported in here. So as you can see, this avatar has all the textures, it has all the geometry, and this one is not specifically made for the VIVE Facial Tracker, but it still does have a bunch of blend shapes that Neos can recognize and set up. To set up an avatar, I'm gonna open my dash again and go to the avatar creator, which is on the home by default. So I'm gonna click Avatar Creator, and this will spawn this kind of interface. First, I need to take the headset. So see, this is a headset reference. I will position it where the eyes are. And I can use these buttons to help me line it up. Then, once I'm done with the headset, I'm gonna take the hands. So this is the right one, this is the left one, and I'm gonna pose them. This doesn't need to be too exact. This seems good. I'm gonna show two anchors, make sure these are positioned well as well. I do recommend watching some general tutorials on avatar import, because they will go a little bit more into detail on how to set the avatars up, but hopefully this is enough to kind of demonstrate how the process looks like. Now that I'm happy with the positioning, the important thing I need to do to actually set it up for face tracking, which is off by default, is check this setup face tracking. So I simply will check this, click Create, and now the avatar is set up and ready to use. To equip it, I simply need to point at it, click, and it will offer me Equip Avatar. And once I jump to it, I'm now embodying the avatar, and I will switch the camera back to the third person, and let me zoom on my face a little bit. So see, I'm using this avatar. I'm gonna look at the camera. Let me actually freeze it in world as well. And I should have some use of the lip tracking, so I'm gonna try to smiling and doing different faces. So see, the avatar, it works fully out of the box with the VIVE Facial Tracker, even though this one wasn't set up. It doesn't, unfortunately, have all the blend shapes to utilize all the data. For example, this avatar lacks blend shapes for tongue. So if I stick my tongue out, you see nothing happens on the avatar. If you want to have full support, you will need to make sure that the avatar actually has the necessary blend shapes to utilize all the data. But even like if you don't, if you use existing avatar, you will still have some level of support. If you are a regular Neos user, or you find an avatar that's already been imported and set up, you might need to do the setup differently. Fortunately, it's pretty easy to set up even existing avatars with the new facial tracking. I'm gonna switch back to my smooth POV, and over here I have a version of the Neos bot that is currently not set up with the facial tracking. So if I jump into this one, you can see the face doesn't respond except for talking, which is using a different system. So let me jump back into my other avatar so I can do the setup. And let's move this over here so we have a nice working area. So in order to set up this existing avatar, I'll need to use the Neos developer tooltip. I can find it in the inventory if I go to Neos Essentials. Pardon, it's Essential Tools. And it's this one, developer tooltip. I will equip this tool, and I will simply inspect this avatar. Again, I do recommend watching some specialized tutorials on how to use the developer interfaces inside of Neos. If you're familiar with tools like Unity, Blender or Unreal, this will be quite familiar to you. So over here I have the hierarchy of the avatar. I need to find where the actual mesh is located, and usually that's under the center root in root node. And if I click body, I will see all the components, which includes the skin mesh renderer. If I disable this, you will see the avatar disappears. That's because this component is responsible for the visual. And if I scroll down a little bit, you can find there's several different blend shapes that were left in whatever state. And if I move this manually, the avatar will actually make different facial expressions. But I want these expressions to be driven from the lip tracking. In order to do that, I'm gonna attach a new component, and you can find it under Users, Common Avatar System, Face, and there's the Avatar Expression Driver. So we'll attach this component, and scroll down, and it has a feature, auto-assign blend shapes using heuristics. This will automatically scan all of these blend shapes, find the naming convention, and assign the necessary blend shapes. So if I click this, you see it filled all this information. So I have lots of different expressions. And you see a lot of the blend shapes, for example, the jaw left, or the ones I moved before, like the jaw open, they are now pink, which means they are now being driven. If I jump into this avatar, you will be able to see, like, if I open my jaw, you see how the blend shape moves, and if I spawn a mirror so I can see myself, and move this one out of the way, you see now the face tracking works. You can also play with these settings, so if I scroll back down, you can control individual blend shapes. So for example, if some of them are too strong or some of them too weak, you can use this to tweak it. So let's say the smile is too weak. I'm gonna intentionally overdrive it so you can see the result better. So I'm gonna set it to 2. And now if I smile, you see this one's a little bit too much, but overall it demonstrates how to use this. And similarly, we can pull it really down, and then the smile will be weak. Oh, I pulled the wrong one. But yeah, you see this works. So I'm just gonna change them back to 1. We also have setting for global multiplier. So for example, you can amplify all of the expressions. But it's a little bit too much for this avatar, although it's also good like for some like fun shenanigans, especially if you're making Garry's Mod style kind of like videos. Or similarly, you can make them much weaker. But now it's of course not as expressive. Depending on the type of avatar you're using, you might want to use different settings. If you need, you can also set up the blend shapes manually in case some of them are not detected. I'm gonna use the eye frown. So whenever I make a sad face, I want the eyes to frown. So I'm just gonna undo. In order to do that, I will grab a reference to the eye frown. I will scroll down and add a new expression manually. So I'll click add, and I will drop this here. This will tell Neos that I want to drive this specific blend shape. And here I will select the expression I want to drive it with. So we'll simply click smile, smile, smirk, frown. There we go. Now if I frown, you can see the eyebrows will correspond as well. Using this component, you can manually set up any kind of blend shapes you want on your avatar in case Neos doesn't detect them. If you feel that the blend shapes should be detected, for example using some common naming convention, you might reach us out on our Discord and let us know, maybe send us a sample avatar and we can look at improving the heuristics. In the final portion of this video, I would like to demonstrate how you can actually build new behaviors on top of the lip tracking. For example, triggering particle effects, triggering any gadgets, or any other interactions happening on your avatar based on the expressions you are making. For example, I would like to trigger a particle effect whenever I smile. So let's get started. I'm gonna switch back to the smooth POV, so you can see what I'm doing. Move this over here. I will need the developer tooltip again, but I will also need another tooltip called Logix tooltip. Logix is our in-game scripting language, which allows you to build absolutely any behaviors. It's our built-in scripting language, which gives you complete control over the entire environment, avatars, and any objects in Neos, and allows you to define any kind of behaviors, interactions, and relationships. So I'm just going to place it on my tool shelf. And to get started, let's go back to this avatar. So I want to make particles come from the head whenever this avatar smiles. To get started, let's just make a particle system first. So I'm gonna grab the developer tooltip, create new, and here we have particle system. I'm gonna select it and do a very quick adjustment. So I'm gonna make the particles additive. So I'm gonna scroll down where the material is. So blend mode, additive. I'm gonna make it so they don't have as quick initial velocity. So let's take the min start speed and decrease it 0.1 and 0.2 as maximum. There we go. Now I want the particles to kind of rise up, and I can use the gravity for it, and there's gravity strength. And if I invert it, let's try -1, but that's a little bit too strong. Let's try 0.1, maybe actually even less. 0.2, this looks nice. I'm also gonna give the particles nice colors, so let's say they will be green and yellow. Actually, maybe not, that's maybe just green. This looks a little bit toxic. This might be nice. This is just for purposes of a demonstration, so we're not gonna spend too much time on it. So once we have this particle system, we can control the emission. If I scroll down, you'll find there's a sphere emitter, and there's a property called the rate. I can increase this, so I can, let's for example put 50 there, and this will make it glow much more. Or I can decrease it, so let's go back to 5 or 10. If I disable sphere emitter, you see the particles stop. So this is one of the behaviors I want to control. I want to enable this behavior whenever I make a smile, and disable it once I stop smiling. If I go back to this avatar, let's first make the particle system part of the head. So I'm gonna close this one because I don't need it anymore, and I'm gonna select the head and open the inspector. Once I'm here, you see I'm under the head. So I will take the particle system with a grip, drop it here, and I can actually close this one since it's part of this hierarchy now. And I'm just gonna reset position and scale. And now use the gizmo to adjust it a little bit. Now that I have the particle system positioned, I can start building behaviors. In order to get access to the facial tracking data, I need to actually add a new component. So I'm gonna first make an empty object using this button, and let's make it mouth data. I cannot type. Mouth data. I'm gonna go to attach component, users, common avatar system, face, and instead of expression driver, I need the avatar raw mouth data. So I'm gonna click this. So this component pretty much provides me all the raw data coming from the lip tracker. I'm gonna spawn another mirror so I can have a look. I'm gonna put it here on the desk. So if I jump into this avatar, you will see that now this is giving me data. And if you look over here, there's a lot of different data coming from the headset, but there's a property called mouth, left, smile, frown. If I smile, the values go to positive. If I frown, they go to negative. So I can use these values and map them to a boolean to enable the particle system. That's a pretty easy process. I'm gonna jump back into this avatar so I can work on this one better. First, I'll grab my Logix tooltip, grab the avatar mouth data, and open Logix interface by pressing secondary. Again, there are tutorials that specifically demonstrate how to use our visual scripting, how to use Logix. I recommend watching those because I'm probably going a little bit too fast. Now that I have this interface, I can actually use the data coming out of it. So what I want to do is take these two and convert them to a boolean. So first we'll simply sum them up. So we'll plug this here and plug this here. So at best, this will give us value 2. That's when both are at maximum value. And we can simply compare it against some threshold that we choose. So we're going to check if the number is larger than some other. Plug this here. Plug this here. And let's say our threshold is 1. And over here I get a boolean. So if I pull this out, this is currently false. And let me actually pull this one as well so we can see what the number is doing. Let me jump back into this avatar so I can test. There we go. You can see we have some numbers coming. And now if I smile enough, the number crosses the threshold and this becomes true. Let me move this one over here. Now all I need to do is simply plug this value into the boolean of the particle system. So again, I'm gonna grab the Logix tooltip. I'm gonna find the particle system here. And similarly, I'm gonna extract interface for the sphere emitter. So grab this, press secondary, and I get access to all the properties, including the enabled property. So now that I have this, I can simply pull this and I simply plug it here. And now this interaction is complete. So if I move this over here, now if I smile, you see I get particles coming out of my head. I can tweak the threshold. So for example, I can make it a little bit more sensitive, 0.75. If I smile now, particles. If I don't smile, no particles. And you see I've added a very simple interaction to my avatar. This is a very simple setup. It has just a few nodes, but using Logix you can create any kind of complex behaviors. Before we finish, I'm actually going to show you how to pack this together so it becomes part of the avatar and you can save it into our inventory. So first I need to jump back into this one. And let's move this over here. And in order to save this Logix and make it part of the avatar, we need to do a process called packing. For that, I'm going to use the Logix tooltip again. I need to set one of the objects as the packing root. That's where all of this will go. So I will open set packing root. Now you can see this is now the packing root. And I will simply hold the secondary, which is on the index's touchpad. I hold secondary, it will show this little circle. I will let go, and it disappears. And you can see under mouth data, I now have all the Logix. And now I can close this, put this here, and this avatar is ready to go. If I smile, I still get the particles. If I don't smile, I don't get any particles. I can try talking and smiling. This looks a little bit weird, but it also works. So now that I have this avatar completed, I will save it. So I will open my dash, go to inventory. I will find a folder where I want to save it. So I'm gonna go, for example, avatars, full body, flip tracking, and I'm gonna click this download button. And see the avatar appears here. I can spawn it from my inventory anytime I need. So if I double click this, I will get a copy here, and I can simply jump into it by pressing equip avatar. And now there's 2 of me. You can also continue working on the avatar anytime you want. In Neos, there's never really a finish point for anything, so you can pretty much continue upgrading it, improving it, adding more logics, adding more behaviors as you go. To kind of demonstrate it, I'm gonna switch to another avatar and show you one which has a fair bit more interactions built. So let me open my inventory and equip this avatar. And take a moment. There we go. So this avatar was made for one of the opera singers using Neos, called Navy. It was also made by Gearbell, and it has full range of expressions. So you can see I can move my mouth. But also this avatar will respond to specific expressions with particle systems and other interactions. So for example, if I make an angry face, I will go like, you see like my head gets set on fire. If I like pout, if I like do like a kissy face, like you see hearts appear, there's also like a little bit of like light coming from it. If I make a sad face, it will put like this like gradient on my face, so like we'll observe this. And finally, if I smile, this one doesn't have too much, it just changes my eye color, so I just smile. But finally, I have one part that's made more of as a joke. If I puff my cheeks, I can fly. So I will simply do this, and I'm flying. And if I stop, I will fall down. And let me expand the camera a little bit. So again, I'm gonna puff my cheeks. So you can see there's really no limit in what you can do with Neos. I hope these examples have given you at least some idea how to get started, and I cannot wait to see what kind of amazing creations and interactions and expressive avatars you will build with this technology inside of Neos. If you'd like to learn more, you can visit our Discord. We have a very friendly community who are very happy to assist you and help teach you how to build stuff in Neos, participate in events, and in general just have fun building stuff. We also have a Patreon page where you can support the development of this project and get some nice extra perks. Without our patrons and their support, this project wouldn't be possible, so there's a huge thanks that comes to them. You can also find a link to a Steam page where you can download Neos for free, our wiki, and other resources down in the description below. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in the metaverse!